Play ball. Hot off the press, handicappers from Wager Talk, SportsMemo, and the Gold Sheet have collaborated on the 2023 Wager Talk Media MLB Betting Guide. From World Series odds to regular season win totals and everything in between, this year's betting guide features previews on all 30 teams, all 6 divisions, and season-long awards like the Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. Each preview contains key roster acquisitions and departures to help you get up to speed before opening day. Visit wt.buzz/MLB23 to download your free guide, and we'll see you in the batter's box.
Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang, also known as UCapper on SportsMemo.com, at UCapperSports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt with me today. We will have Tony Finn, I believe, later on. He's coming in a little bit late, but we'll be breaking down the 2 games today in the NBA playoffs. Before we get into those games, though, I do want to talk about SportsMemo.com, everything we have going on over there. We have the free live odds page. We got the deals page. Cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis, along with their daily packages that they do have on for sale as well. You can check the leaderboard, see how everyone's doing on specific sports. Obviously we got the NBA, the NHL playoffs is here. The MLB is coming into the the middle part of the season here. Also, before you go over to the site, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It only takes a couple clicks and it helps our show grow tremendously here. With that said, let's get Matt up here with me on the panel. What is up, Matt? Man, I'm gonna be honest, man. I was on a 3-day losing streak. Yesterday came up big though. Got a lot back from what I lost in the previous 3 days, and that was like NBA and MLB combined. But you know how we do on the show. We always talk about transparency, and we want to tell the people how we're doing lately. But how's everything going on for you?
Yeah, everything's been, I am coming off an off day. That was NFL draft related, though, not NBA related. I thought I had a good handle on what was going on in the NFL draft, and definitely not. Definitely not. Yesterday was one of those days of the NFL draft where it was all over the place. NBA this week, however, I am 3-2, so not so bad. Still in the positive. We're trying to win every single week. We're coming off a winning week, and honestly, have probably won the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, something along those lines. So we're getting pretty consistent here. Only picking my spots where I see it. Yesterday with the Hawks Celtics, I really didn't have a great feel for that game, if I'm being honest. So I was just a fan. I just sat back, watched the game. It was a great game. Celtics pulled it out in the end, and I was paying attention to the draft. So today, though, today's a little different. We got some really good games today. I'm excited to break them down with you. So ready to get into it as always.
Yeah, let's get into this first game here. We got we have the Kings and the Warriors. Game 1, the Warriors now lead the series 3-2 after everyone thought they were done pretty much to starting the season, losing 2 straight to the Kings here. One thing, we talked about this prior to Game 3, Matt, is, the Kings have been riding that high for a majority of the season, right? A lot of people didn't expect them to be where they are. Then they also start the series 2-0 against the Warriors here. And we were like, all right, let's see how this young team responds, if they get beat down here in Game 3. And they ended up getting smacked by 17. And then in Game 4, it was a weird ending, right? It was a 1-point loss, but I think it looked closer than it really was because of how it ended, how that game ended. The Warriors then took Game 5 in Sacramento. The other thing, too, Matt, is De'Aaron Fox's hand is a big question mark here. I know he played heavy minutes in that last game. He's probably going to play heavy minutes here again, but he's playing through a finger injury, like a fractured finger. And, we don't know how much it is affecting him. But we know that he went 9 for 25 from the field in the last game, also had 6 turnovers as well. What are your thoughts on this game here? I know Kings is typically a game where you look towards the props, but do you see any advantage here on the side of the total?
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I'm looking at this total right now, it's pretty tough because 7.5 it's a lot of points. And last game, me and you talked about this before the show. That is potentially the best I have seen Golden State look all season long. They looked completely back together. They were sharp on defense. They were incredibly sharp on offense. Their passing was exceptional. Kevon Looney even distributed, I don't remember how many assists he had exactly, but like 6, 7, 8, somewhere within that vicinity. And when your center is getting that many assists, that just means you are doing a great job at movement, motion offense, cutting to the basket, a little bit of everything. And I'll be honest, when that Kings game first started, I was like, man, De'Aaron Fox doesn't even feel that finger. The dude started off on fire. He was filling it up from all over, filling it up from the 3-point line, the mid range, a little bit of everything, and then it just slowly seemed to get a little worse. And with like an injury like your finger or your hand, anything like that, I can see that easily trickling into your mind. You miss a couple shots, you start shaking that hand out, you're like, and it gets in your head, and you might start missing shots and things like that. And with this Kings team right now, I was just dead wrong on Kevin Huerter. He's someone that I don't know if you can put your trust in him right now. And the way that the Kings run their offense, they go with the hot hand. So Malik Monk had the hot hand, and if Malik Monk gets that hot hand, Kevin Huerter's not coming back in. Davion Mitchell may not come back in unless to guard Steph Curry, stuff like that. So for me, I know a lot of people would probably think I'm going to be with the Kings here because the Kings are one of those teams who they've shown the ability to be resilient. They've shown the ability to be that team when everyone doubts them. They come out and prove you wrong. But right now, I just don't. This Warriors team is so hot, and especially Steph Curry. When you actually watch a full game against a team like the Kings with Steph Curry, you really realize how much he does on offense. It's insane how much attention you have to give to a player like that every single game. And then you have a player like Clay. You have a player like Andrew Wiggins, who's playing the best basketball I've seen him play all season, even when he was playing early on. The dude is just balling right now. And all in all, I just think this team is so poised. They have all the veteran experience. And again, I know 7.5 is a lot, and people think I'd be with the Kings, but I'd be with the Warriors here. I'd be with the Warriors minus 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on you touched on Looney, one guy that has made a huge impact from game 1 and 2 to game 3, 4, and 5. Look at his game stats here, his game log here. Game 1, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Game 2, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Then this is where they flip the script, right? They were down 0-2, Warriors are down 0-2. They make the proper adjustments. Now look at Looney's game stats: 20 rebounds, 9 assists, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 22 rebounds, 7 assists. They put him into that offense. They adjusted the offense so that he became a distributor. Man, it's kind of crazy how that happened and what impact that made. But did you have something else to add on to that?
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of, actually, is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat last game with Bam Adebayo. One of the big reasons that Miami ended up taking that game was because Bam Adebayo was actually running a lot of the point guard facilities. And what Brook Lopez was doing, Brook Lopez was running drop defense. So there was literally 3 feet between Bam Adebayo and Brook Lopez. And if you can effectively facilitate the basketball from the center position, and you have solid motion men and cutters like maybe the Miami Heat or that of the Golden State Warriors especially, that's a really good way to kind of counter your opponent. And, it's worked for the Warriors and it worked for the Heat. So I think that just made me think of what Bam Adebayo was doing as well. And it's a really good adjustment by Steve Kerr.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and we got Tony Finn, joining us now. But Tony, we're talking about this Warriors and Kings series here, and we talked about how the Kings came in, winning 2 straight, and now the Warriors, trick out three in a row here. What are your thoughts on this game, especially with the fact that Fox is playing with a fractured finger here, and how that affects this Kings offense?
Well, it's shown that it's affected even before the finger was fractured. We saw that Sacramento basically they had some issues shooting the basketball, at least efficiently, accurately. They shot 33% on wide open 3-pointers in this series so far, 30.1% overall. That's not going to win. They're not going to win at home, even against a Warriors team that couldn't win on the road right until last game.
Do you have any take on the total or the side here, or would you be looking towards a prop in this type of a game?
Well, I like this game a lot. I really do. I still like, despite the fact that Sacramento shot poorly. I'm all information, all intel I've received. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. Fox is going to play tonight, correct?
Yeah.
This is. I don't think Golden State's going to be delusional. I thought they were delusional a lot of times when they went on the road this year, thinking that they could basically shut down, at least slow down the offense, not press, and defensively capable enough to win. They didn't do it. And if early in the series, I thought they were still trying to do the same thing. You saw last game where Green, rather than passing open shots up, he took the ball to the rim. Curry wasn't hesitant like I thought he was early in this series. And I think the pace, it's going to be pace. They're going to click, click, click. They're going to take open shots. They're not going to try to it's a waste of time to try to wear down this Kings defense, or at least Kings team defensively, by using the shot clock. They're gonna play at pace, and if you're gonna be contrary to that, I think you're in trouble with the Kings, even with the question marks that surround Fox. I like the over.
Like the over there, pace of play, and maybe you bounce back offensively for the Kings there. The way that I was looking at this one, guys, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Kings have yet to beat the Warriors in San Francisco. They faced each other 4 times there this season, and they have yet to win there. They actually lost, I think it's 9 straight now on the road versus the Warriors, dating back to 2020. At the same time, though, they're 6-3 against the spread. So even though they're not winning, they are covering the game in that. And that could be that. I mean, possibly that could be the situation in this game here. But another thing that I looked at was that the Warriors, after the All-Star break, including the playoffs here, 13-1 straight up, 11-3 against the spread at home, including 9-5 to the under as well. I know that kind of is the opposite of what Tony was talking about with the over, but I think it's just apparent that the Warriors key in on the defensive side of the ball at home. So there's still a situation where if the Warriors do win and cover, this could be tight on the total and they end up going over just based on their side alone. If you historically in the first round of the playoffs, if it's a 3-2 series in favor of the home favorite, the under is actually 10-3-2 the last 15 instances. That's another thing that kind of points toward the under, but I'm not really that confident on that total because of the things that Tony mentioned. It's the pace of play here is really what kind of takes me off of the total, but I do like the look of the Warriors in this game. They just play so much better at home, both offensively and defensively. I would trust that they do their part. If the Kings end up making their threes, like Tony says, then they're definitely going to go over. But for the most part, I just don't know if the Kings have the defense to stop the Warriors at home here. So my heavy lean is towards the Warriors. Let's move on to the second game of the night here, the Grizzlies and the Lakers. We do have the Lakers leading the series 3-2. They couldn't close it out in Memphis, but they do have an opportunity to do so in LA now. I think we get a huge effort from the Lakers here. They absolutely do not want to go back to Memphis for a Game 7. What are you guys' thoughts on this one? Tony, let's start with you, the Memphis and the Lakers here.
Wow. Have you guys been – I haven't been right yet on Memphis and Lakers. Seems like every time I start leaning one way and feel like I have my arms wrapped around the pace and the game and matchups, I'm wrong. Memphis shooting much like the Kings, shooting very poorly on uncontested 3-point attempts in the series, just over 30%, and hitting at such a low rate on uncontested 3-point shots is, what's the word to use, guys? It's gargantuan. It's massive. It magnifies some of the deficiencies that the Grizzlies have. And I like the Lakers. I think the Lakers are, at this point in time, I think they're more cohesive. Made a lot of changes. This year. They've tried, it's seemingly 101 different schemes where they're all going to be at their best when they're on the court together. I think they've been really good defensively, and I haven't heard anybody really say, hey, listen, I think the Lakers have won when they've been good defensively. They limited Memphis to just 58.7% shooting at the rim, which is everything. That's what Memphis does with y'all. I mean, they, for the last 3 years, save this year, I think they were second, but they've scored most of their points or lead the league in points in the paint at the rim. 74.9 points for 100 possessions in half-court settings. In the 2 games in the Crypt this year, Memphis, they have to be much better at home or they're not going to have any chance to beat this Lakers team the way they're playing defense.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that the points in the paint, how key that is for the Grizzlies. And in the last show, Matt talked about AD blocks. 3.5 blocks was his best bet. He hit over that, and he's a big reason why the Memphis Grizzlies are struggling in the paint there. One thing I want to mention is, the Grizzlies as road dogs, they've been struggling in that situation all season long. They haven't won a game at all in that situation. 0-17 straight up, 2-15 against the spread. And that includes the playoffs here. If you look at their performance after the All-Star break on the road following a home win, the Grizzlies have a record of 3-4 straight up and against the spread, also 5-2 to the under. But the most important part, the takeaway from that is the Grizzlies went under their team total in 6 of those 7 games there. I'll be talking about this game in the best bet section, so I'll stop right there and let's go to Matt and see what his thoughts on this game is. Matt, what are your thoughts on this Lakers and Grizzlies game?
Yeah, kind of branching right off of your point, Ron, when looking at this Memphis Grizzlies team, they have not been good on the road. They were 16-25 in the regular season. And I don't have this exact number in front of me. I looked it up, I believe, last week. But of those 25 losses, I believe 4 times it was within 5 points, essentially saying that when this Memphis Grizzlies team loses on the road, they get absolutely spanked. And, when I look at this team even further, watching last game, even when they won in Memphis, Ja Morant and Desmond Bane have to do so much for this team to get them over the hump and to win that game. This is a Los Angeles Lakers team that saw Anthony Davis shoot 4 for 13, 12 points, and they still won. Because they're a very spread out team. They're a deep team. They have a great bench. And, kind of branching off what I said in the last show, this Lakers team scares me down the stretch. I wouldn't want to face this Lakers team if I was any of these top seeds or the Nuggets, the Suns, anyone, even the Warriors. I do believe the Warriors match up probably best of any of them. But this is a good team. And again, to Tony's point, they're very good defensively as well. They have a lot of bigger bodies now. Guys like Rui Hachimura who can move, and then Anthony Davis locking down that middle, getting the blocks. Anthony Davis kind of cancels out Jaren Jackson Jr. If Jaren Jackson Jr. is not making his shots from the outside, then he's going to have a long night in that paint generally because Anthony Davis just is that good. And, we even mentioned it before. When Anthony Davis has an off night on offense, like scoring 14 points, he can still keep the Lakers in that game with his defense alone. And then also last game, we saw LeBron James get very, very tired. Very tired. He had 15 points. He needed a break. It seemed like a lot of these Lakers needed a break. Now they're coming home. I don't think LeBron wants to be in that situation again. I don't think he wants to be on the road in Memphis, potentially tired because of all the minutes that he's been getting. I think they need to take care of this game at home tonight, and I think they do, and I think they cover that -4.5 spread in the process. Overall, even going back when we started talking about this series, we stated that we just felt like this Laker team was better. They have the top 2 players in the matchup with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Generally, that's enough. But even diving in a little deeper, this bench is way, way better than that of the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies really only have Tyus Jones. Another thing is Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard may not play tonight. That's a guy who spreads the court out for the Grizzlies. He has that knockdown 3-point shot. So that means you're going to be depending a lot on, we talked about Tyus Jones, who's a very capable backup point guard, but then you're talking about like David Roddy after that. And, it's just not nearly as diverse as this Lakers team. I think this Lakers team just has too much at this point in time. And again, they're so deep that they have so many different guys who can come in and get it done for you. D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, in addition to that, guys like Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, just guys who are very good role players and know what their role is for this Lakers team. So for me, I'd be with the Lakers -4.5. I think they close out this series, and I think they cover the spread.
I like it. You touched on the losses and how much they lose by in those games. You remember that trend that I just mentioned as far as like them as road dogs, they haven't won a game there's 17 games, right? 0-17 as road dogs. Only one of those games they've lost by less than 5 points. So you're correct. So while you were talking, I looked it up for you. So that's what that's what we do on the show here. We make sure, we got each other's back here. But I talked about this being this being the game that I'll be having my best bet on. So we'll just go straight into that. I just talked about that trend earlier as the Grizzlies, after the All-Star break, on the road following a home win, 3-4 straight up, 5-2, 3-4 straight up, and against the spread, 5-2 to the under. The takeaway from that, 6 out of the 7 games they went under their team total. On the Lakers side, they're 8-3 straight up, 7-4 against the spread, and to the under as well when playing at home after the All-Star break, where their opponent is not in the second leg of back-to-back games. So they would have some fresh legs there. Their opponents are actually 9-2 to their team total under in that 11 game sample size as well. A lot of things point towards that team total under on the Grizzlies side, and that's the way that I'm going tonight. That's actually a premium play for me. And also, I'm giving that out as the best bet for the show today. The Grizzlies pretty much been struggling offensively for the most part of this series. They're 3-2 to their team total under in the series, but one game went over because it went into OT. The other game snuck over by just 2.5 points. I think the Lakers. I'm with Matt here. I think the Lakers get the win. I think they cover that spread, but I think the more confident play for me is the Grizzlies staying under their team total. Tony even touched on the defense that the Lakers have been playing. I think that's how they get it done tonight. With that said, let's go to Tony here with his best bet for today's show. Also, talk about what you got going on over at wagertalk.com.
At Wager Talk, I've taken two positions in the two games tonight, both in the same game. One player prop and one position on the full game. And I have a couple of baseball. I have a Dead Presidents Report going up right after the show, right after first pitch, because I'll do first pitch as well after this program on Wager Talk TV. I mentioned that I like the over in this game, and I do like the over in this game. I like several pieces of this game. I like the Kings in the first quarter. I think they understand where they're at, and I think with or without an abundance or at least an efficient Fox, that they'll find ways to get points. Before coming into the series during the season, one of the keys for them was being very aggressive early on and taking a lead and being able to play with that lead. They were 7-3 against the number in the first quarter. So if you like first quarter plays before the series started, I think you're going to see this. You're going to see from Fox and company tonight. I also like the Warriors. There was some interviews, and I'm a big interview guy in quotes, and Kerr was really impressed with how his group without Fox, and he kind of changed the scheme a little bit and went back to some of the film, some of the things he showed his players. Long story short is that you can see it in his eyes, you can see it in the players, in Curry and Green and Tom. They were not just excited; they were enthralled by what had happened. They were efficient and they were playing fast, and they weren't hesitant. And Kerr said something about what they talked about before the game, and that it seemed to have worked. They seemed to have clicked with them. I like the over in this game. I think you'll see a desperate Kings team that will do what they have to do, and that means not playing against this Warriors half court set defensively, even though I don't think it's the best or even close to what they used to be. Over the total, I got 236 is what I'm showing right now.
All right, Tony with the over on that Kings and Warriors game there. Make sure you guys head over to wagertalk.com and see what you got going on over on his page there. Matt, what is your best bet for today's show? Also, tell the people what you got going on the premium side as well over at sportsmemo.com.
Yeah, right now over at sportsmemo.com, I do not have anything loaded, but I will definitely after the show. I'm going to have at least 2 plays up. I'm currently right now, I'm still number 2 last 7 days, and I'm number 1 last 30 days in NBA. So still seeing things very well, hitting at over a 60% rate last 30 days. So just looking to keep that going, kind of like we said, trying to win each and every week. We're 3-2 on the week right now, trying to keep that going tonight. And this will be an official play for me right here, today's best bet. And if LeBron James is my best bet, I have to like it, because you definitely know I have a distaste for that man. And I think he's going to bounce back well, though. I really do. Last game, he had 15 points. He looked very tired out there. It looked like he just needed a couple days rest, coming back home to L.A. And like I've said, the best player or players in this matchup are Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And in reality, no one can guard LeBron James on that Memphis Grizzlies team. If he wants to get to the rim, he can get to the rim. Because you take a look at it, if Jaren Jackson guards him, they run a risk of him getting in foul trouble. They've tried Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman is way too slow for him. They've tried Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks just gets in foul trouble. Dylan Brooks is too small. LeBron can have his way with him in really any way he wants. And, that's LeBron James style basketball. He is a very tough matchup. He always has been. And that was a huge reason that I went with the Los Angeles Lakers against the Memphis Grizzlies, because of the mismatches that this Lakers team had over the Grizzlies, especially without Steven Adams. In LeBron James' career, he's averaging 25.4 points against this Memphis Grizzlies team. He's hit this against them in his last 2 out of 3 matchups. And in closeout games, that's when I expect LeBron James to be his most aggressive. Last game we saw Anthony Davis go off with over 30 points, 19 rebounds. LeBron kind of took the back seat, had the night off. Now I think they switch roles. Now I think it's going to be LeBron leading the way. He's going to be the one creating the action, attacking the basket, doing a little bit of everything. Because with this Memphis Grizzlies team right now, say LeBron James continues to attack the basket, maybe gets Jaren Jackson Jr. in foul trouble, game's over. The game's done. Okay, they don't have enough depth to cover for someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. getting in foul trouble, anything along those lines. So for me, with LeBron James being a veteran, being in this situation time and time again, I think he's going to be ultra aggressive, attacking the basket, trying to get to some of those guys, maybe like a Jaren Jackson Jr., getting him in foul trouble. Because again, if that does occur, this Lakers team has a huge advantage there, and I already think they do. So for me, I love the LeBron James bounce back. If he hits like 2 threes, he's going to crush this line. So hopefully he shoots pretty well tonight, attacks the basket like we think, and goes over this 26.5-point line. I love LeBron James here. Definitely going to flirt with that 30-point line as well.
All right, perfect. So we got 3 best bets in the books there. Tony King's Warriors over, Matt LeBron over with his points, and then I have the Grizzlies team total under there. Man, that's just two games today in the playoffs. But before we go, guys, I want to ask you real quick. No analysis needed. Just right off the top of your head, we got 3 round 2 series, ready to go here. We got Boston and Philly, and then we got the Knicks and the Heat, and then the Nuggets and Suns. Real quick, I need a winner and how many games they win in. All right. So Tony, let's start with you here. The Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia Sixers.
One caveat. Embiid, yes, I like Philly. No Embiid game 1, I like Boston in the series. Now, how many games?
Oh,
I think it'll go 6 or 7, either way.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to be Boston 6 or 7 in that one. Off the top of my head, I can't recall, but I believe Boston is the best team in the league against Embiid in terms of shutting him down. And I remember how they were against Giannis last year. They do a great job creating a wall and kind of limiting their best player. So for me, I would be Boston with 6 or 7 in that one.
I like Boston as well. I think they get it done in 7. You have something to say, Tony?
No, I was going to say, I think Matt might be right. I think it might be Toronto who does the best job.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
They slap him. It's almost a hack Embiid. Everything down. He hates playing him. So.
All right, next one we got the Knicks and the Heat. Matt, let's go with you here. What team and how many games?
I'm with the Knicks for sure. Honestly, man, I still doubt this Heat team, and maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to say Knicks in 5. I'm going to say Jalen Brunson is someone I don't think you want to mess with right now. I don't think you want to mess with Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with Jimmy Butler either. But, yeah, I'd be with the Knicks.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually in agreement with you, but I was thinking Knicks in 6. Like I said, the Knicks are peaking at the right time. Jimmy Butler is really carrying that team on their back. I don't know how long that's going to last. But, Tony, are you going to be on the opposite side here?
No. The Heat have been they died a long time ago. I'm thinking about Joe Neri, and he always said they've been dead to me forever. Every time, again, this is one of those teams. Every time you think you got them figured out, you know exactly when to fade, when to be on them. There's just no way Jimmy Butler does what he did game 6, even game 7. I mean, come on. What do I love is this, guys, and I'll end it with this. How about that one of the most blatant push-offs that Jimmy Butler did underneath the bucket to get that one hand? It's like, nope, nothing.
Dude, that was so
the officiating, guys. What's the difference between the officiating regular season and this series? It's been night and unbelievably letting them play physical basketball. I mean, and they're still quitting.
Yeah,
they're still quitting. 37 going to the free throw line 37 times. Crazy, just crazy. I like it.
All right, last one here. The one series in the West that's set, the Nuggets and the Suns here. Matt, let's go with you. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go Suns. I'm going to go Suns in 6 here, with the reason being, when I look at these two teams, I think they're both very top heavy, 5 both starting 5 lineups, great. After that, they're kind of similar on the bench. They have Bruce Brown coming off the bench, who's been solid, and the Suns don't really have that much. Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet. So for me, I actually just think this Suns starting roster is actually better. I think they're more experienced. I would love to see this Nuggets team make it a series, but I just think with Kevin Durant, the way Devin Booker is playing right now, veterans like Chris Paul, you got DeAndre Ayton to match up with Jokic. I like this Suns team over this Nuggets squad.
All right, Tony, what are your thoughts on this one?
I would say I agree with Matt. I agree with Matt for 2 reasons. One, unless Denver becomes a more physical team, I think you're going to beat Suns. You have to be physical to beat the Suns, and especially if you can get them in any foul trouble. As Matt said, after the first 5, you get Durant or you get Booker off the floor, their net rating offensively is not very good. With anybody off the bench, they don't have a big. I mean, they gave away their bench to get Durant, right? That's what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, listen, the Nuggets are a team that's really hard to fade. It's almost like Malone. If you look at their last 20 games of the regular season, they just started tinkering with certain schemes and rotations. They didn't care. They went 7-10, I think, in the last 17. Still win number one, get the number 1 seed. And they sure impressed me in the first series. Even though a Minnesota team I thought was, again, no bench, dismantled because of McDaniels in the hand, right? But I like the Suns. Unless Denver changes and becomes more physical, Durant and Booker win. In 6, I like that, Matt. 6 games.
Suns in 6 for both of you guys. I'm actually on the opposite side here, guys. I like the Nuggets in 7, actually. I think, you guys talked about that short rotation there on the Phoenix Suns side. I don't know how long KD and Booker can play 44 minutes a game. And even Chris Paul's at like 38, 39 minutes a game. So I think the depth is on the Nuggets side here. And I think that's going to give them the advantage as, the longer the series goes. I think the Nuggets get the advantage there. So I like the Nuggets in 7. All right, guys. Thanks for everyone who tuned in to the Triple Double Show today. Our next show will be on Monday, but we gave out the best bets. We talked about both games today. Even gave some look aheads to the upcoming second round series. So hopefully you guys took some good information away from today's show. Till Monday, I think it's just gonna be me and Matt again on Monday. And till then, guys, good luck with all your action. Peace.
Play ball. Hot off the press, handicappers from Wager Talk, SportsMemo, and the Gold Sheet have collaborated on the 2023 Wager Talk Media MLB Betting Guide. From World Series odds to regular season win totals and everything in between, this year's betting guide features previews on all 30 teams, all 6 divisions, and season-long awards like the Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. Each preview contains key roster acquisitions and departures to help you get up to speed before opening day. Visit wt.buzz/MLB23 to download your free guide, and we'll see you in the batter's box.